Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 122, Divine Mother Calling. My name is Lisa Espinosa, and I'm a spiritual career coach, and I help wellness professionals, coaches, therapists, teachers, social workers, anybody who's in the wellness field and has such a deep prayer longing to help others. And you've probably been helping others for as long as you can remember. The other category of clients that I help is clients who are retired or semi-retired or in between jobs who a lot of the times were wellness professionals, and they're in the new stage of their life where they're really reflecting on what was their legacy of love that they created. Perhaps there's burdens or that need to be released so that they can really open up to this next phase, this next cycle of creativity, of helping, of sharing their gifts in a fulfilled, purposeful way. And the final category is really women who are just in like all sorts of different fields of work. There's accountants and people in marketing and philanthropy and, you know, baking businesses and all of that. But what's unique about them is whatever the work is, they really have such a heart of service and a commitment to, through their work, bring about creative solutions, connection with others, bring about unity consciousness, really are focused on that uplifting of humanity, even if their job title doesn't seem like it would be that. So that's what I do. And in these episodes, I share some special teachings to help you align with your helper heart, to really bring you back into this place of pure service and leadership in a way that fulfills and blesses your life. It's not meant to be either or. It's not meant to be either I help a lot of people, but then I suffer and sacrifice or am a martyr, or I prioritize myself, but then I don't help people. It's meant to be both. You're meant to be blessed as you share your gifts, as you share your unique soul's medicine, as I call it. So today's call is really inspired by my masterclass that I did yesterday. It was Be the Pillar of Light in the Storm. It was such a wonderful class. 40 people signed up, and everybody brought in such honesty and authenticity and deep desire to be that, to be the pillar of light in the storm. And one of the things that I taught in that class was that there is this calling that the Divine Mother is putting out. And so I want to talk about that here. I want to do a little slice of that teaching here, which, by the way, I don't know when you're listening to this, but the replay is still available until April 1st, 2025. So if you are listening to this now and you're like, I want to access that replay, just email me, reach out, and I'll send you the link for that. So first of all, let's talk about, what do I mean by the Divine Mother? So when I say the Divine Mother, I'm talking about that mother aspect of God. Maybe the word God is not what resonates with you, right? The divine spirit, creator, great mystery, universe, love. There's so many different words. And we know that God, source, is beyond any label, beyond any gender. But for a long, long, long time in the history of humanity, God has been thought of as male, as the Father. And there's certainly that aspect of the divine. But there's also the divine aspect of mother. God as the Divine Mother. And so that's the aspect I'm connecting with. I'm inviting you to connect with. So think about the Divine Mother. If you think about a good mother, what does a mother do? She protects her child, right? There's a very strong protective energy. She also encourages. She's like this cheerleader, right? Like, and when I say a good mother, I understand that some of us, our mothers always did the best they could, but there's also a lot of mother wounding that has gone on in this world. So when I say this, please understand, if your relationship with your mother wasn't this way, or if you lost your mother early in life, I totally understand that as well. But if you can imagine the best mother, right? And I also didn't have that relationship with my own mother. So I had to really kind of embark on this journey. And I believe is part of why I was so drawn to the Divine Mother. It was my own longing to connect with that mother. So let's go back again to those characteristics. The Divine Mother would be protective, encouraging, this like divine cheerleader of like, yes, I know your gifts. I know who you are. Oh my gosh, you have so much to offer the world. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it, right? There's that aspect. There's the comforter. So when you're in pain, when you're sad, when your heart's been broken, that Divine Mother is a comforter. That there's the advocacy of the of the Divine Mother, right? She's an advocate for you. I was thinking back of like my kids when they were younger, and I was thinking like, well, what else? What else did I do? There's of course the mother as nurse, right? Like really helping your body to heal when you're hurt. And then one of the things that I thought of was like chauffeur. And I was just remembering, when my kids were in that stage where I had 5 kids, by the way. I have 5 kids. And when they were in that stage of like, where I had to drive them around everywhere, I remember just feeling like I'm just in the car all day long, driving them to things. And not that the Divine Mother's driving us, perhaps, but she is a transporter. I was like, oh, the Divine Mother also takes you where you need to go, right? There's that aspect of it too. And so you can think about your own aspects. There's also the Divine Mother that really honors your beauty in all ways, not just physical beauty, but certainly that. There's so much about the Divine Mother that is needed in this world. And so when you think about the Divine Mother of humanity, and she's looking here at the human world and all the struggle and suffering and pain, and she wants to help, right? She's like, okay, there's help, there's divine intervention here. And so this calling that she puts out, I really believe ultimately it's for everyone, but I really believe there's a very specific call for the helpers of the world. She's putting this call out because she knows that those of us who have had this longing to help, which was, by the way, put there by the Divine Mother, that's part of our mission. Our mission of helping others is intricately connected to our own joy, fulfillment, happiness. And so I really want you to understand that this divine calling to the helpers of the world, the Divine Mother doesn't do this selfishly or ask you to sacrifice or be a martyr. She's like, no, I know this is actually what's going to bring you the most joy. So the calling is to let yourself be seen in your authentic self. I mean, that alone is everything, right? For you to know, okay, the Divine Mother is calling me to let myself be seen in my authentic self, in my authentic journey. To let myself be seen exactly where I am now. Not later when everything's perfect and I had it all figured out, but now, like this is the gift you give humanity, is sharing your process now. And of course, there will be things that are personal and you don't share, and that's totally normal. It's not about like literally opening up your diary and sharing it with the world, but it is about letting go of perfectionism, letting go of self-imposed limitations, letting go of any of those thought errors that say I'm not ready, or it won't make a difference, or nobody really needs my medicine. There's already so many helpers out there. I don't need to show up. That's not true. If you've heard me speak before, you know that I've been talking about for years since my first book came out, which was back in 2017, I believe, and about your soul's medicine, that you have a unique soul's medicine. You're a unique medicine in the pharmacy of the Divine Mother. And so the Divine Mother looks at you and she's like, oh my gosh, like your medicine, nobody else has it, and the world so needs it. And so part of your work, your commitment, your stretch is to keep reminding yourself of that and keep showing up. Let yourself be in the spotlight, and your spotlight will look different than mine. It might not be in front of a camera. It doesn't necessarily mean a specific way. It'll be unique to you. But that's the calling that's coming out. The Divine Mother, and yesterday in the masterclass, it was be the pillar of light in the storm. So it is, notice that it wasn't be the pillar of light in sunshiny days. Like, yes, that's beautiful, be the pillar of light then. But most of humanity doesn't have any difficulty shining when things are going good. It's when there's challenges, when there's the storms of life, that this light is needed the most. And if you're drawn to my work, if we're drawn to this podcast, and you're one of those individuals that was designed, created to be the light in dark times, in the storms of life. And perhaps, most likely, you've experienced a lot of storms in your life. Yesterday in the masterclass, I spent the first maybe 20 or so minutes really sharing in a deeply personal way a lot of my journey of the storms in my life. And the reason for that wasn't to show off or to be self-indulgent. It was to illustrate this realization that I'm having, even though I've been on this journey for many, many years. It's this other realization of like, oh, like at a deeper level, to understand all of those storms I experienced were molding me into the leader, the teacher, the coach that I am today. They were not an accident. It wasn't unfair. It wasn't because I was being punished. It was part of what I signed up for. It was part of the mission that I accepted from the Divine Mother, right? To incarnate on this earth, go through all these things, gather the pearls of wisdom, gather the compassion that would create inside of me. Gather all of that, and all of that be turned into the power, the fuel to fuel my service. So it's the same for you. And it doesn't mean you have to like every part of it. You can still have, of course, those moments, those cycles where you just feel really, you might feel beaten down, or you might feel dispirited, or you might feel like it is unfair. You know, I've went through that. I'm still kind of like processing all of that, you know, as I go through some new storm in my life. That there was a very loud complaint that came up from within me of like, no, I'm done with the storms, God. That's it. Like, I had enough of them. I'm good. I think I've experienced enough of them now. I can lead. I can be of service. I've been coaching for 15 years. I don't need any more. But that's not how it works. Because the Divine Mother actually sees me and is like, nope, you have so much more to give. You've just tapped the tip of the iceberg. Imagine if that was true for you too, because it is true. I don't mean the tip of the iceberg of the storms you will experience, but the tip of the iceberg of how much value you can provide for the world. The tip of the iceberg of truly seeing, wow, how valuable you are, how powerful your medicine is. Even if you've been, because my clients, when I say I coach wellness professionals, they've been doing it for years. Most of them are not like newbies. They've been doing this for years. They've written books. They've helped hundreds, thousands of people. They're experts in their field, even if they don't consider themselves experts. That's one of the things I coach them in, right? To really embrace their expertise energy. But what if that was just a teeny little tip? What if there was so much more to be revealed about you? And don't let that overwhelm you, because I know if you've experienced burnout, if you have patterns of rescuing others or being a martyr, which so many of us who are drawn to helping have those patterns, you might be like, I don't know if I want to uncover. I don't want to go into burnout again. This is not about going into burnout. The Divine Mother doesn't want you to burn out. That would not serve her mission at all. What she is guiding us to learn is for us to remember, oh, you're not just a human, you're a soul having a human experience. If you commit to knowing who you are, to answering this calling of the Divine Mother, to continue to ask her to increase your capacity, to remove these self-limitations, then you sharing more value will feel easier than it has ever felt. It will be revitalizing. It will fill you up, not deplete from you. The reason we get burnt out is because we're relying on our willpower. And I have such powerful willpower, and I'm so grateful when I look back on my life that I had that. And I know I had also my soul guiding me, but I hadn't had a coach, I hadn't had a therapist. I was just kind of like relying on myself. And that was part of my journey. That was part of what molded me to be who I am now. But there was a lot of that time, those early times, particularly the first 25 years of my life, but even the 10 years after that. But really the first 25 years, there was so much of like my willpower. Like, I will persevere. I will keep going. I will continue. I will just barrel through the struggles. I will dig myself out of the mud. And that was part of my training, but it was also not sustainable. It also got to a point, when I was in my upper 30s, mid 30s, upper 30s, where my body just kind of like, it was like, that's it. We're not doing it that way anymore. And so just notice where you are with that. Notice, first of all, what are all the storms that you've experienced in your life? What are your thoughts about them? It's normal to have regret. It's normal to feel it was unfair. It's normal to even look back and be like confused, or maybe to even be like, I don't want to look back. I'm in a better place now. Forget looking back. And there's a wisdom in that. We don't want to drown in looking back. It can be self-indulgent to be stuck in the past. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like this life review of looking at your past with so much compassion and so much wisdom, and starting to understand, oh, none of it was an accident. Right? All of it was so perfectly designed, even the parts, especially maybe the parts that were so painful. And I don't need to like it. I don't need to look back and be like, yay, that happened. But I can garner the pearls of wisdom. And now the Divine Mother saying, and use them now. Let yourself be seen. She's saying, like, I need your help. You signed up for this. But remember, the Divine Mother's not like, you signed up for this, so you better pay off. No, it's like, you signed up for this because you knew this was what would bring you the greatest joy, the greatest fulfillment, your awakening, your story of triumph and success. So yes, even though this is for the world, ultimately, first and foremost, it's for you. And I keep teaching this, sharing this, because this is what I remind myself of always. When it feels hard to get up, when it feels hard to show up, that I'm like, wait, this is for me. This is not for me from a selfish place, but this is like my awakening. This is how I get to remember who I truly am. This is how I fulfill my mission. And when I do that, everyone is blessed. So that's the Divine Mother calling. And what I want to ask you is to really, sorry, I'm looking around because usually I do these live, but I had to do this as a pre-record this week. And I was trying to see how long I've been doing it for, but somehow it doesn't tell me here. Okay. I'm just going to trust the Divine Mother's going to tell me when to end. I want you to think about, I invite you to think about, to ask the Divine Mother, what is she calling you specifically to show up in? Where is she calling you to be that bright pillar of light in the storm? What storms is she like, yep, you're designed perfectly for those storms. Go out there and shine your light. Be curious and ask. And know that the Divine Mother always answers you when you ask. Always. Just like if you asked your mother who loved you so dearly, she wouldn't be like, nope, I'm not going to tell you the answer to that. She would answer you. She would answer you in a way that you're ready to receive the answer, though, right? Like if a little 5-year-old goes up to her mother and asks a question, the mother will know, well, she's 5, so I'm going to give her an answer that's appropriate for her age. So same thing with the Divine Mother. There's sometimes we ask a question and we think we want this whole long book of an answer, but the Divine Mother looks at us and knows, okay, if I give her this long of an answer, she's actually going to freak out and it's going to actually paralyze her. So I'm going to give her this part of the answer. And if you ask the Divine Mother and you don't hear it immediately, the answer, please note, the answer went in your heart. But sometimes we have our own like over-eagerness or self-doubt. So we're like, oh, I didn't hear the answer. It will be revealed, right? I read about that in my book, Answering Your Inner Calling, which is like, there's direct ways and indirect ways. Ultimately, we want to learn how to like get the direct answer ourselves. But sometimes, because we're human, we have an ego structure, we need different ways. So it might be through synchronicity, through dreams, through something a teacher says, through talking to your coach, through being led to connect with someone, through a book, through a song. It will be revealed. Or it will be when you're like not even thinking about it. You're taking a walk, you're taking a shower, you're washing the dishes, and you're like, oh, I have the answer. And of course, it's very common to get the answer and then be like, but is that really the answer? Did I make that up? This is like how we sabotage ourselves, by the way. But you can always ask the Divine Mother, well, you know me, Divine Mother. I think I heard your answer, but I'm having doubts. Please send me more validation. You can always ask for that. So again, the question you're going to ask the Divine Mother is, okay, what is she, what beautiful Divine Mother, what are you calling me towards? What storms are you calling me to be the pillar of light in? What storms in my life are you guiding me to look back on and bless them and have so much high regard for myself for having gotten through them? Have so much compassion and garner the pearls of those storms. And one question that's coming forward right now that I'm hearing is like, what storm am I in right now? Like, what is the storm I'm in this moment? And remind me, I'm not alone. I'm in that pillar. So in the masterclass, I showed kind of the structure of this pillar of light. So to show you that you have all this space so that the storms aren't slapping you around, right? It's like we're steady in that light. Again, the replay is still available till April 1st. So if you want me to send you the link, reach out. So before we end, I'm just going to pull 2 oracle cards. Oh, and I do want to remind you, I still have slots. I opened some slots for a free breakthrough consultation. This is a 1-hour consult with me via Zoom where I will take you through a process. I'll ask you some questions to really help you get clarity on where you are now and where you want to be, to help you truly identify, well, what are the obstacles that are in the way? Most of the time, it's not what you think. You might think, well, my obstacle is I don't have enough time. And yes, there might be some part of the obstacle, but the deeper obstacle is something else. And when you take care of that, the time amount is not going to matter. And so I'll help you identify that, and I'll help you identify like, well, what's the practice? What's the skill that you need to develop to help you overcome that obstacle? And then if I feel I can help you further, I'll share the details of my coaching programs with you because I would love to help you. Please know you don't have to prepare anything. You can show up totally confused. That's my training, is to help you go from confusion to clarity. And you can show up super clear if you're like, no, I'm really clear. I know this is the help I need. Help me with this. Wherever you are at, I would love to connect with you. I'll put the link to that in the comments. And also, if there isn't a time available, still reach out. And if something opens up, I will let you know. I keep like a running little list of people who are wanting to schedule a breakthrough consult. And lastly, I want to say, don't put it off. I have so many people that will tell me, like, oh, I've just been putting this off because of this or this or this. And most of the time, those weren't reasons to put it off. It's just like a thought error that your brain offers you. The best thing for you to do is to get help now, not later. Okay, I thought there was something else I was going to share, and I don't remember what it is now. Oh, share in the comments anything that came up with for you with these questions of, what's the Divine Mother calling you to do? What storms is the Divine Mother calling you to be the pillar of light in? What storm are you in the midst of right now? And how is your pillar of light helping you be fully in your power, in your presence, in your peace? I would love to hear it. Okay, so let's pull. So I'm going to do a card from the Medicine Woman Oracle. So we're going to ask about this, okay? Like about the Divine Mother calling. So what is a message from the Divine Mother to you right now? I love this. Number 9, all potentialities. I open the dance of synchronicities. Oh my gosh, I love this card so much. I've never gotten this card. Again, I open the dance of synchronicities. So look at this woman. I want you to imagine like this is the Divine Mother inside, like in front of you. And she's like, here I am. I'm opening the dance of synchronicity. So the Divine often answers our prayers through synchronicity, right? Through those coincidences that we know aren't coincidences. And she's saying she's opening the dance of it. So be open to notice all the synchronicities that are going to just flood your life. That's the divine breadcrumbs. That's the Divine Mother saying, here, and look at this, and look at this. I love that. I love the mudras that she's doing with her hands. Okay, and then we're going to do an inner child oracle card. And we'll say this is a message from your inner child, your magical inner child. Because your inner child is absolutely essential to your divine leadership and your service. And when I talk about your magical inner child, your star child, this is the child part of you that was never wounded, that has the faith to move mountains, that has the creativity that's just infinite, that has so much vitality and so much love, that is so innocent and pure and powerful. So let's ask that part of you for a message. Okay, number 16, go inward. Oh, this is such a perfect message. It is time to connect with your inner child. All right, look at this with her butterfly wings. So this is what your magical child is saying. Go inward, talk to me. I have so much beauty for you. Look at this beautiful field of flowers and such a beautiful image. So here you have both cards. All right, my dears, thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to connecting with you next week for episode 123. I will be announcing my masterclass for April really soon. And I would love to see you in a breakthrough consult if that calls to your heart. And if you want the replay of the Be the Pillar of Light in the Storm masterclass, reach out to me. I will, hopefully follow me on Facebook or Instagram, and you can reach out to me that way. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.